G'day and welcome to another big edition of the Bendigo Bank MCDFNL footy show. My name's Yeendy. I'm joined by the great man, Mitch, Sydney Operations Manager. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Yeendy. Good to be back.
Now, what a round of footy, mate. The finale for the home and away season. You made a few tips, mate, and I think the tipping gods were on your side.
Oh, only just though. There was a couple of games under a goal and a couple of bigger margins in a few games, but that's it for another home and away season. And yeah, it was good that it went down to the last round, and a few clubs were very nervous, I think, Saturday evening. Absolutely,
mate. Let's talk about the result that might have changed things altogether, and it certainly did. It was Trentham getting over the line by against Avoca by just 1 point. If Avoca drew, they were in the finals. If they won, well, obviously they're in the finals. So, but Trentham, they got a rush behind in the last sort of 90 seconds, and that sealed the deal with the siren sounding in Avoca's forward line. At least that's the info I've been giving.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, what a game. Avoca clearly gave it their all. We probably didn't predict that they'd get this close. We knew they had a chance, but I had a feeling Trentham might have done it a bit easier than that. But obviously they gave it their all, and they just couldn't quite get over the line. A draw would have done it, as you said. They would have got in if they got a draw. But yeah, and I think you're right. I've heard the same thing. So that there was a rush behind, I think, in the last few minutes of the game, and unfortunately that ended it all for Avoca just there.
It's they showed a lot of promise this year, dating back to that. Ironically, that fixture back in round one where Trentham got out to a pretty good start, but Avoca sort of ran with them pretty well. It was a sign that the Bulldogs were going to have a pretty good season. Unfortunately, despite the fact that they had a few big wins in the later half of the season, they probably left their run just a little bit too late. And if only they could have shown that form earlier on in the season.
Yeah, I think another thing for Avoca is I think they've had a lot of probably injuries in that throughout the year as well, so that might have been the difference in the end, and I think Avoca are an improving side, and I think we'll see them rise up into the 8 next year.
Yeah, Trentham will go into the finals campaign with a little bit of a boost on the sense that they've played a finals-like game. Another game, you called this out a long way back, mate. Nostradamus, I know there's a bit of that about you, but Malden, they're in the finals. We opened up the show a few weeks back that they were going to be right in the hunt mathematically, that all the stars were aligning, and they've followed through, and they've had a big win over Campbell's Creek, and with one other result going their way, it means two had to go their way, it means the Bombers are in.
Yeah, 2 predicted results I think that needed to go their way, so 2 that they could have banked on, but maybe not quite because they were both under a goal, but yeah, look, I almost ruled Malden out, I reckon, a few weeks ago as well when they had a loss to, I can't remember who it was, but they managed to get a win a couple of weeks ago and get their season back on track, and they've got in, so to their credit, they've done pretty well, and they're playing finals, so good on them. Wet conditions, I think it might have been on the weekend, and yeah, so that's probably one reason why they probably didn't get the margin they got the week before against Denali here against Campbell's Creek, but to Creek's credit, they got 5 goals on the board.
One of their highest scores of the season too. Despite their tough season, they've been able to score reasonably well, particularly in the back half of the year.
Yeah, they have managed, I think, in most games to at least get a few goals on the board, which is a positive for them. But yeah, look, Malden relied on a couple of other results to go their way, and they got the win here, which they needed, and they're playing finals.
Now, let's talk about the other game that actually went in their way. It would have been just heart-pounding stuff if you're a Bomber supporter on the weekend. They needed Lexington and Avoca both to fall over, and they did by a combined margin of 6 points. Natty, as good as they've been this year, they were pushed by Lexington, and as you highlighted with Avoca, just that drive and desire to play finals. That's what got Lexington going, and unfortunately for them, they fell out of the finals race by 5 points.
Yeah, another game under a goal, but yeah, you're right. I think Lexington clearly fighting for their finals, which is how they took it right up to Natty. Yeah, and look, Natty and Trentham breaking hearts, you could put it.
Yep.
But yeah, look, another result going Malden's way, and yeah, look, Malden lucky in a sense. They might have had an easy run the last few weeks with a couple of their games they've had, but yeah, Lexington to be fairly disappointed. They couldn't just quite get it done.
Yeah, exactly, and full credit to them as well, mate. They did take the game up to the Swans, who have been in the top 2. They've been in the top 2 side all year, and to be pushed like they were there, full credit to Lexington. Their desire to win was outstanding, but tough conditions, mate, and it would have been incredible for them to get up.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been, if they got up and Avoca managed to get up, I think they both would have been thinking they were playing finals, but one would have missed out. But no, unfortunately, not Lexington's year. They just they fell away in the last few months, and hopefully they can go ahead next year.
As a neutral footy fan, you would have just been excited just with all this development happening. It would have been riveting stuff. Royal Park go into the finals campaign with a fair bit of form, with 49 scoring shots to 9 to take down Denali by 180 points. The Tigers, the beauty about them, mate, they have finished the season quite strongly.
Yeah, they grabbed a good win here. Unfortunately for Denali, they'll continue their rebuild now over the off-season, and then they'll keep working hard towards next year. But Royal Park, they might have been hoping for a more competitive hit-out before finals, but they'll certainly have a tough contest next week. Yeah,
you're definitely right, mate. But I guess for them, it was about getting the forward line pressure, something that has struggled with them at times this year, but they've been able to do it, and to get 49 scoring shots on the board. And I mean, we talk about Denali. We know that there is a lot of hard work being done behind the scenes. It's not fake optimism here. There is a lot of great things, a lot of forward planning that's been going on next year. The club is only going to get bigger and better. I think it's just a shame with them at the start of the year. They lost sort of 4 or 5 of their best players before round 1, so that makes life a little bit hard. But they say you give your kids a chance to play some senior footy, and there's some great potential in that team.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Denali are a pretty historic club. They've had a lot of success in the past, and they're certainly going to work their way back up there in the years to come. But a lot of hard work's been going on this year, and not only this year, in the past couple of years as well. So again, they'll work hard. They'll get recruiting, and they'll do what they can next year.
Harcourt made a massive statement on the weekend with a big win over Newstead to really make their mark inside the top 4. Plenty of scoring shots on the board, and the Lions just purring along nicely.
Yeah, massive win for Harcourt going into the finals. Similar to Royal Park in a sense that they might have been looking for a bigger hit out. Give their guys a bit of a test again before finals. They've got a massive game next week against Carisbrook, so could be a completely different tale next week. Yeah,
you're definitely right, mate. Speaking of Carisbrook, the once great rivalry, we probably haven't seen it so much this year. There was the 2017 grand final matchup. They took down Navarre with great confidence for the second time this year, which is shows just how strong Carisbrook are this year. Going back to their round 1 fixture, Carisbrook blew Navarre out of the water, so Navarre were able to make the bounce back, but unfortunately for them, their season just sort of fizzled out in the last month.
Yeah, still over 10 goals here for Carisbrook over Navarre here, so...
not a bad effort though, considering there have been teams in the top 8 that have lost by worse against Carisbrook in recent weeks.
Exactly right. That's probably one of Carisbrook's closer games for the year, to be honest. They've been belting clubs out of the park, but
yeah, they have.
Yeah, look, Carisbrook, they just came out firing, getting it done probably in the first half. Having a look there, and to Navarre's credit, they won the second half, but. That said, it might have been a Carisbrook resting a few players for next week and that type of thing in the second half, but we'll give Navarre the benefit of the doubt, and they got some good form in the second half of the game.
Getting some good form as well as we get ready to wrap it up. Talbot had a big win over Maryborough Rovers to really make that statement inside the top 4. The Rovers a disappointing end of their season, but they've showed signs that if they can continue to build on from some of the positives mid-year, that they can get back to playing finals. And we know that Talbot they've sort of flown under the radar a little bit this year. They've had a few close games that could have gone either way, and who knows, they might have been knocking on the door of the top 2 earlier on in the year, but a good win for them to finish out the home and away season.
Yeah, obviously Talbot are a very, very good side. They've only lost 3 games for the year, which is a very good effort. And look, Maryborough Rovers are up against it, playing for their season this week. Technically, they still had a chance on the weekend, but look, they'll be pretty disappointed. I think they'll be pretty disappointed with their season, probably overall, how their year panned out. Early on, they looked pretty promising. We thought they were going to play finals, but just didn't quite go that way. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Talbot's clash with Natty next week, which will be a cracker.
Oh, he's going to be mouth-watering, and that's something we'll look at a little bit later on in the week. That was the other round 16 review. Thanks to our friends at Bendigo Bank. Mitch, thanks so much for joining us, mate. We'll look forward to catching up with you and everyone else later on in the week.
Thanks, Yeendy.